Okay, so Dal Amid base. The hashta the Kaimeland, Kula Alma or Orsahu, Michti. And Michti means we're going to say something that's true, and then we're going to ask a kasha from it. But from here we have now, because Davka everybody holds or is Orsahu. So Rashi explains why only now. But Bein le Rebbe Yehuda, Bein le Rebbe Meir, Chametz eno also ele mishesh or shlemala, v'nivdoch b'sheish. This is in a Mishnah on Yod Aleph Amud Beis. Mishnah Rebbe Meir Omer Oichlin Kol Chamesh. Now here again we're using hours of the Gemara. So if you go, it's really 0 till 12 is the day. So therefore the first hour is 0 to 1. Therefore the sixth hour is 5 to 6. And Chatzois is at the end of the sixth hour. Again, 0 to 1 is the first hour. So 5 to 6 is the sixth hour. So 6 and on will be the
beginning of the sixth.
The beginning of the sixth. The end of the sixth. The sixth hour. The first hour ends at 1, so the sixth hour ends at 6.
Right.
So the end of the sixth hour, so really the beginning of the seventh is Chatzois. The end of the sixth, beginning of the seventh is Chatzois. So Rebbe Meir says that you eat the whole of the fifth and then you burn at the beginning of the sixth. So therefore you have 1 hour of even though the whole hour of the sixth is Deraisa, is Mutter. See, the whole hour of the sixth is Deraisa Mutter, says Rashi. So basically Rebbe Meir is makdim 1 hour. Rebbe Yehuda says Oichlin kol arba. So you go the first 4 hours of the day you can eat chametz. The toilin kol chamesh. Rashi, you don't eat it. You can't eat because you can make a mistake, and on the seventh that it's the fifth. There's like a 2 hour difference there. However, to burn it, you don't have to burn it. And then you eat it, and v'maichul le behemtzoi. Right, so maichul le behema means you can feed your behemoths, which means in the fifth hour, even though you can't eat it, it's still mutter behana. If it was asr behana, if the chametz was asr behana, you can't feed it to your behemoth. So the toilin kol chamesh means it's asr bechila in the fifth hour, but it's mutter behana. V'saifrim betechilas sheish, and therefore it's asr behana at the beginning of the sixth. So then back in our Gemara, so Bein Rebbe Yehuda and Bein Rebbe Meir, Chametz is not also until the sixth hour and after. So that would be at the end. That's Pasha. So at the end of the sixth. No, it's also so that the Rabbanan also did an hour beforehand. Now v'nivduk b'sheish. So therefore we have the question of that you should check it. You should do the bedika at 6. Okay, so that's the Gemara. That's really all the Gemara we're going to do. I understand what the hell's going on here. So Rebbe Meir and Rebbe Yehuda argue in the Mishnah, which you just saw, that the harket avad rabbanan la'araisa. So we have the deraisa. Chametz eno aser min ha'tayra b'bal yiraru v'ubechila ela misheish sha'os. So Rashi here is saying that Bali Yiroe is aser from the 6th hour. Yeah, from Chatzois, it's an iser deraisa. Eina aser min ha'tayra b'bal yiraru ela misheish sha'os. So therefore, we have an iser deraisa of Bali Yiroe from Chatzois. According to Rashi, you're not allowed to own chametz after Chatzois. Okay, and that's a huge chiddush, because the Mishnah, all the Mishnah is saying is that you have an iser achila, and you have an iser hana, but the iser of bali roy and bali motze is for 6, 7. We'll just see this in the Rambam. Lefikach im lo bittel koidim sheish misheish os lamala. So that's before 6, 6. So matz, then you find chametz, and it's daita alav, so that you didn't bottle it. You didn't beer. The over al lo yiroe v'lo yimotze. You are over on. So deraisa. So the Rambam is here saying the Rambam is just like Rashi. that after Chatzos on the day, so you're over Baliroi because you didn't burn, you didn't mevatel. That's already from Sheish Sha'os V'Lamala. It's already from Chatzos. You're over Baliroi, and the bittul isn't going to happen. Now, again, this is an important point. The bittul isn't going to help him. Why is the bittul not going to help him now? Because any Isser Hanoah you don't own. If you have if you let's say you own orla, you have an orla tree, so the fruit of that tree is orla. Yeah, you can't do anything with that, with those fruits. So the bittul isn't going to help because Asher B'Hana. Any Asher B'Hana you don't own, therefore you can't mevatel it. It's Eina B'Reshusa, the cause of Meida. It's a bit different here what he's saying, but V'chayiv lebera b'chol eitz, and you have to bur anytime you sell. And if you find a miyontav, you put on a thing. And if alakedesh einu tzarich lekafu elak mezrim. So the Ravid saying here, ulai sover zer sover shehu oiver misheshu uslamala beloy yerevoli matzah. The eino kain, says the Ravid, de b'sheves yamim kasiv. So it says when it talks about the Isser of Bali Ruri, Bali Motzeh, it says 7 days. So the 7 days of Pesach will be over Bali Ruri, Bali Motzeh. The 7 days don't start until Shkia Tzeis, whatever, of the 15th. When Pesach comes in, that's when the Isser of Bali Ruri comes in. So most poskim hold, like the Ravid here, that there's no Isser of Bali Ruri, Bali Motzeh until Pesach. Whereas Rashi and the Rambam are both holding that the Bali Roy, that the Isser Bali Roy Balamatz is coming in already at Chatzois. Now the Grach, it's hard, difficult to find a digital copy of it, whatever. So the Grach is a Gaon Rev Chaim Kanievsky. Now I wouldn't necessarily bring him, as a kind of source against. Against the Rambam, whatever. See, he's late Achron, but because of his bikius, therefore, what he's going to say, he's giving you a bikius of all the points. This is his pshat. So he has a beer, a perush on the Yerushalmi, so therefore you can get his perush on the Mishnahs because the Mishnahs on the Yerushalmi as well. And that's what we had again. The halacha goes like Rebbe Yehuda against Rebbe Meir, that you have an Isser, you can eat the first 4 hours, you have an Isser Echila on the 5th hour and an Isser Hana on the 6th hour. The Afal Gav, that Deraisa, it's Motzer B'chametz ad Somach lahashecha. Right, so this here is saying that there's no din Isser Chametz B'chlal. The Deraisa, your Motzer B'chametz until close to Sheikh. The Gozer Rabbanim Misha Shavias Velamala. So there's only it's a Gezer Rabbanim because of a Groshi Soifer. And then there's the second Gezer that you burn Bechilas Shishas, because Shishas you can get mixed up and maybe you make a mistake and so on. So here the Grach, who's seen every Perush. That's why he's someone to use, because he's seen everything, and he's saying that there's only a din deraisa, at midnight, whereas the Rambam and the Rashi are saying there's a din deraisa at Chatzois. But I'm bringing the Grach here, just the Pashtus is that there's no Isser until Pesach. So there's a Chiddush there of Rashi and the Rambam that it was already an Isser deraisa of Bayori Balimatze at Chatzois. So min ach chalak umin lo tishkas al chametz. So this is as we're going to learn later on. This is where mishay shaos misha avru shei shaosh. So from 6 hours, which means at the end of 6 hours. So at 12 is the deraisa, because we learn ach. Ach means that we divide the day into 2. So that's really sugya later on. Now, nivduk b'sheish. What does nivduk b'sheish means? Is chametz batchilas sheish. The koidem isoiro ya avarnu. So we already said there's an isser at chatzois, and therefore before the isser you have to remove it. So therefore you have to do the bedika of the chametz at the beginning of 6, because you can't start doing the bedika at the end of 6. So Rashi is just explaining nivduk b'sheish means at the beginning of 6. You'll use the whole hour of the 6, and therefore you'll lama li kuli high. So we're saying, why do we need to bring it so high? So the Mishnah says that we are going to do the Bedikas Chametz on the evening of, like on the night of the 14th. So we're saying that since the Isser Chametz is until Chatzois, let's just do the Bedika an hour beforehand. So why are we coming to be Makdimet this much all the way until like a previous 12 hours? The Bishlema, if or is Yom. Now this here Rashi explaining the beginning bit, which we did, is now that everybody holds that or is the evening. So now Bishlema, if the or is the day, so then you can have the answer that the Mishnah is also saying 6. But now we're saying that it's that everyone holds that it's the nighttime, so therefore the Mishnah can't be saying 6. Really the best time to do in the Bedikas is at 6. Now all this is pushing it so far, but the real question is when do you have to do the when's the din of the Zerizus Chametz? When do you have to burn the Chametz? When do you have to do beer Chametz? Beer Chametz is Tashbisu Chametz, is the Zerizus Chametz. There's a Tashbisu here in Dalad Amud Beis, which we've seen the second half, but we're going to now have a look again here in the first half. So Perish B'Kuntras. So Midaraisa Bittel Ba'al Masagi. Kuntras says that you do it Belev. Tashbisu is Belev. And this is really the mitzvah of Tashbisu that happens at Chatzois. So since it says it didn't say burn it, therefore we see that the Hashbasa Belev he. So this is Rashi, that you can do the Bittel Belev. And Re says that the Hayish Basa Ha'avarahi, it's burning it. You have to burn it. And it's not Bittel. Because we see later in the Gemara, Rebbe Kiv Oimer, you don't need. So we're giving rayas as to why the. How do you know that you don't burn your chametz on the 15th itself? How do we know that you do it on the 14th? So we're giving different rayas, and Rebbe Kiva says that you don't need that raya because we have a different raya because it says tashbisu, and we see that havara is an av malacha. We see that burning is an av malacha. So since bittel is not an av malacha, therefore how could the tashbisu be bittel according to Rashi? Because later on we see that Rabbi Akiva says that it's an av malacha. So tashbisu has to be burn it, which is an av malacha, and it's not bittel belev. The Pnei Yeshua is just saying that Rabbi Akiva goes like in this maklokas, not like the Rabbanan, and therefore Rashi doesn't hold this side, whatever. But this second question of Taisus really blows everything out. V'od the tashbisu amrinan lekaman. This is like we say further me'ach. We saw before that the ach. How do we know tashbisu? Because ach divides the day into two. Chalak shehu mishei she'os v'lemala. Yeah. So now Taisus is learning here that tashbisu is from shei she'os v'lemala. If according to Tosfos Davka, you have to do Tashbisu after Chatzois. So, and then Tosfos is saying here, va'acher isura lo mahani bittel. And after once it's osur, the bittel won't help. Therefore, you can't have that Tashbisu is a bittel because since you have to do the Tashbisu after Chatzois, so therefore the bittel won't help because it's already osur b'hana. And as we said, the osur b'hana you can't do bittel on. So we have here basically a big maklokas that Tosfos is saying that the tashbisu happens after 6, after Chatzois. And Rashi says that happens before Chatzois. So we have the Pnei Yeshua again. Here's the Pnei Yeshua. It says the second kasha is explained that it's not a kasha at all, according to Perish Rashi. Because each one is according to a shita. The Rashi has a shita. Rashi holds that you have to do the beer before Chatzois, and Tosfos has to do it after Chatzois. And as it's explained in Zerizus, Emir says Hashem in later on in Chuf Talib to explain Hativ Shitas Rashi, the explanation of Rabbi Yehuda and the Rabbanon in Biur Chametz is in Sreifa. That is Davka Koidem Biur. It's also before the Biur. And if say Al Korcha Prusha Dukro Trisha Miyakara Tashbisu Shehi Musheves VeOimed. So that the Tashbisu here, see Tashbisu means that it is Mushbat VeOimed is that you need to at 12 o'clock on at 12 o'clock on the 14th, you have to be done with your chametz. So for Rashi, it's a mitzvah of sheva al taseh. It's a passive mitzvah of that. By the time 12 o'clock reaches, you have to be done with all your chametz. Whereas Tosfos is holding that it's a kum veaseh, and therefore, since it's a kum veaseh, that the yontiv has to be after 6. So here we also have it in the Minchas Chinuch. This is in Mitzvah Tet. V'chein mavur b'toisvus in Pesachim midaraisa. They wrote that you can't learn b'bittel from Meshavtoi. So that's that Rashi is saying that it's a bittel b'leiv, and Toisvus says it can't be. Ha'amrin l'kaman achalaku. So this is the levatel v'hu lachar isur ein sham. V'i mitzvahs b'sheva al taseh. See if the mitzvah sheva al tasim, so lo kasha klal. So Rashi is learning that the whole mitzvah of Tashbisu is a sheva al taseh. Again, meaning that at 6 o'clock, don't have any chametz in your possession, and therefore again it has to be before 6. The hatayra amra de b'chatzois yiheh mushbas kavar. You're already done by chatzois. You're already done with all your shevis. You're already done with all your chametz. As Rashi says, "Lekaman besugia." Achalak, achakak the toisvus the ase. See the toisvus, the svara had toisvus the asehu, the kum va'ase. So toisvus is holding that it's a kum va'ase of the tashbis. Imkain keva hatayris man le mitzvah. Therefore, the Torah gave this man for the mitzvah in the time of the mitzvah. For lo kodem, and you can't do it beforehand. Come on, Mila. So just like Mila, so you have the 8th day to do it. You can't start doing it on the 7th. So Rashi says before the 6th, before the Achalak, the first half of the day is when you get rid of your chametz. Tosha says no, you can only do it in the second half of the day. So we have here again a big machlokas, and the poskim will be going on these two different sheets, but there comes out huge nafkaminas and din between them. So
all based on whether it's a nase.
Based it's an nase. So again, so Rashi here is holding the koidem isura. You have to remove it before the issue. Therefore, the nivduk b'sheish, you have to do the sreifas chametz has to be. The sreifas chametz has to be before 6. You can't do it after chetzois, because by chetzois you have to be done with your chametz. So it's a sheva al tasa. So now, again, a lot of nafkaminas come out of this. So number one, let's say you go to a hotel for Pesach. Americans like doing that. You go to a hotel for Pesach. You arrive a couple of days early, go to Florida, and you're swimming in the pool. You ain't got no chametz, right? The hotel, you're done. You've eaten everything, you drunk everything, or you sold it, whatever it is. You don't have any chametz, right? Is that mutter according to Tosfos? Is it mutter according to Rashi? According to Tosfos, at Chetzois, you have a mitzvah aseh to burn your chametz, to get rid of your chametz. If you have no chametz, then you're not doing the mitzvah aseh. According to Rashi, you never have to have chametz in your life. And then by the time the 12 comes, so therefore, I have no chametz. So you don't need chametz. According to Tosfos, you have a mitzvah aseh to burn your chametz after Chetzois. So if you don't have chametz, so therefore you can't do the mitzvah. Rashi says chas v'chalili, you have chametz afterwards. According to, let's say you're standing at the bonfire and you're throwing your chametz in to burn it. According to Rashi, do you need kavana?
No.
According to Tosfos, do you need kavana?
Yeah.
Yes.
If you have, let's say you're at the bonfire, you're throwing all your chametz in, you got one piece of chametz left. Can you give it to your little child to throw it into the fire Or do you have to throw it into the fire yourself?
You have to throw it in.
Rashi doesn't care, and Toysa says you have to throw it in because it's your mitzvah. It's your mitzvah. Now, Tosfos has this bizarre shita, which kind of comes up later, that if you hold on to chametz in order to burn it, you're not over bali ore bali motze. So even if you have it on
right.
Even if you have it on, so according to here now, again, Tosfos doesn't have to hold. Rashi and the Rambam hold that bali ore has already held at chutzos. Tosfos doesn't have to hold that. And again, most people don't hold that, and you're only over bali ore at
Right.
Yeah,
Tosfos holds that it's just
at
Shkia.
Right? But Bali Roy is a different variant. But here Tosfos is holding that after chutzah, even after the Isser Rabbanon has chaled, you are holding on to the chametz in order to burn it. So therefore, there has to be mutzar to hold on to it. So even during the Chag itself, if you own chametz on Pesach, you're not over according to Tosfos if you're planning on burning it, which is a really weird shita. Because you have chametz in your house. If your kavana is to keep it, you're over. If your kavana is to get rid of it, it's just so you see chametz in someone's house. Do you own this? Yes. And you don't know if you're over or not. You don't know what the is this. You don't know what the. An interesting one is that according to Tosfos, you don't get makos for of Bali Roeh. If you own chametz over Pesach, you don't get makos. Why? Because he calls Tashbisu as an aseh, so it's a lav of Bal Yiroeh is a lav hanitak la'aseh. So according to everyone, so you're over Bal Yiroeh, so you should get makos. According to Rashi, you've no aseh that you can fix up. If you own chametz, so you burn it, says Tosfos. You have an aseh that will doicha, that will fix up your lav. So Tosfos has an aseh fix up your lav. Rashi doesn't have an aseh that fixes up the lav. So therefore, you'll be a So therefore, according to Tosfos, there's no makos, but according to Rashi, there is. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, he learns it from Truma. He learns the burning from Truma, and since you can only burn Truma in the 6th hour, because you're not allowed to burn the Kodshim when it's Mutter, so you have to wait until like the last moment to do it. Therefore, there is no din of biur on your chametz before then. So if you burn your chametz in the morning before that 6th hour, so therefore there's no mitzvah there to do it according to it's mitzvah of Tashbisu. Again, the burning, according to Rashi, the burning you do is so that you won't have chametz by chutzos. So you have the burning before, but there's so is there a mitzvah? So then you have this maklok. Is there a mitzvah to actually do the? So again, l'chayr, I guess if you're not bothered to hold on to chametz and burn it after chutzos, because you want to get rid of all your chametz, because a lot of people are saying it's asur. So you don't want to go about Tosfos. Therefore, it really shouldn't matter when you do the when you do your burning of the chametz, because that mitzvah of burning, according to Rabbi Yehud, is going in the shitas there of Tosfos that he brings Rabbi Akiva. It's not like Rashi. So there, since it's a veaseh, so that really you have to be holding it. It doesn't help in the 6th. You got to wait until the end of the 6th, into the 7th hour, in order to do it. So, weiter in the Gemara, the key theme is reason makdin lemitzvahs. So, you want to say that the Mishnah is saying that we go all the way back to the Erev of 14, even though we should check it at 6. We're going to go all the way back to the Leil of 14, because the reason makdin lemitzvahs. So there, nivdok mitzafra. Therefore, we should check it in the morning and not in the evening. So that not of the night of the 14th, but in the morning of the 14th, we should do it. How do we know? Dichtiv b'yom hashmini yimol basar orlaso. That in the 8th day you will have the bris, V'tanya kol yom kula kosher lamila, all the days kosher lamila, elas Zerizus makdimin lemitzvahs. So that you do it in the morning because Zerizus makdimin lemitzvahs. Shenem mar v'yashkem Avraham b'boiker, because it says that Avraham got up in the morning. Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak b'shas shebnei, that's the teretz. So Avraham got up in the morning. That even though this is during the Akedah, in the Akedah he got up in the morning, and even the preparations for a mitzvah, we don't makdim anything earlier than the morning, even the preparations for the mitzvah. So therefore, here in the case of the nivduk, why are we doing it in the evening? We should do it in the 6th, and even if you want to say that Zerizus makdim lemitzvahs, therefore we go to the morning. Nivduk mitzafra, and not earlier than that. Then we're going to have the answer, and the answer which will really Amar Rav Nachman, basically b'shas b'nei adam musim b'vateihem, so that the people are in their houses in the evening, not in the morning, and the or of the ner is good for bedika, that you use the light in order to check, and there's stories in the Yerushalmi of where the candle burns better at nighttime than when it does in the morning. Now the nair being good for bedika, the idea is that when the sunlight comes into your house, it's hard to see the nooks and crannies. And if you want to see, and even today, if you want to look into the corners, you get a torch. You don't just turn the main light in your kitchen. If you need to look in a cupboard or something, you need to have a torch. So the nair is good to get into. It's good for getting into the nooks and crannies. So I believe Moshe Feinstein, I also heard this from Rav Samus, that they would story, or I don't know if he did it, but he said to, like you say the bracha on the candle, and then you can or do switch. I heard that. I don't know how long Rav Moshe would search with a candle, but then we switch to a torchlight, in order to again, you do it at nighttime when the light is good to check these things. And it's also, you also need the second reason, that the time that the people are in their houses, because if you just had the nair, you could really do the nair and look into the nooks and crannies in the morning. Now going back here, Zerizus makdim lemitzvahs. There's a big machlokes in Poskim, basically as to the idea of, if you have the option, and this is a common option which you have, which is that you have the option of doing it early, or you have the option of doing the same mitzvah but Kovud. So a common thing you would have is, let's say you do a bris, before work, so you'll have to do it at, you do shachris at 7 or nates or whatever, and then you have a suda afterwards. Or you do it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you get more people to turn up because people don't want to get out of bed and do it at 7 a.m. So which do you do? So the Radbaz has a famous shaila here. Reuven was in jail, and he was able to come to daven on the 10th and do mitzvahs, the hischanen lifnei yashar, and he was only allowed out one day, except for one day in the year, whatever day he wanted. So he's crying to his jail people to let me out because I can't daven here. So what day should I come out for? So teshuva, I saw one of the chachmi of the door in the teshuva that he would say the big days, but that's all cheres. Betchila, he wrote that it's out of Yom Kippur. So again, that would be the pashtus. I don't know, you get out for Yom Kippur would be the pashtus. And after that, he said on the Yom Purim, because Mekru Megillah, Pursume Nisa, I would thought because Yom Kippur is only like Purim. But he's saying because Mikru Gedila is pursuing Nisa, you need 10, and it's not you. And so he says this. So there's the Radvaz says Ein Roy Lismoch Al Divarav. The Masha Roy Lismoch Alav is that we kaimelam Ein Marvim Al Hamitzvahs. So this is an idea of Zerizus makdim lemitzvah, Ein Marvim Al Mitzvah, and Ein Echok B'Zeklal. Therefore, the mitzvah, the first mitzvah that comes to your hand that's not possible to do because you're in jail. The Hu Chavish B'Beis, then that's Kudmin. I don't care if it's kala or chamor, just do the first mitzvah. So, you can kind of argue and say this isn't really a dinner of Zerizus versus Kovud of the mitzvah, but it's saying that by flipping in the ein marvin al ha-mitzvahs. So therefore, the first mitzvah that comes to your hand, that's the mitzvah that you should do. So the Trumas Hadeshen, again, I think he writes his own questions. But you saw the Levana in the Chodesh in the weekday, and you say you should wait. Should you wait to do it on Motzi Shabbos, like they do it or not? So you see the moon early. So Zerizus makdim in the mitzvahs. You should do them as soon as you see the moon. You should do Berachos Levana, or should you wait until Motzi Shabbos in order to do these? So again, it's kind of like the same shaila. So in appearance, there's a chelik b'davar. Heke the leila Motzi Shabbos hababa karov. If it's soon, if Motzi Shabbos is going to be soon, and there's not many months, like it's at the 7th or the 8th of the Chodesh, even if it's cloudy on Motzi Shabbos, then you'll still have a few nights afterwards, and there's still time to make the bracha until the 15th. So therefore, it's best to wait until after Motzi Shabbos, because you ain't mavarchen al yerech ela b'Motzi Shabbos. That's when you have all your nice clothes on. So therefore, what's this din? Why should you wait until Motzi Shabbos? Because you do the kovud of the mitzvah, beroi vam, and you have the kovud. Here he doesn't say that there's a minyan. Usually you get like a minyan on Motzi Shabbos here as well. So you have the beroi vam hadrus melech, and you have the kovud of the mitzvah in a nicer way. So therefore you don't do it early, and then you wait for the kovud. But if the leil Motzi Shabbos haba is and there's not much left, so if it's cloudy, you're going to miss it. So if you're going to yavor, so therefore in that manner, you don't wait. So here, the kol heicha the roy hu lehistapek shetavor ha-mitzvah. Any time that it's like properly a real chance that you're going to miss the mitzvah, you don't delay it even in order to do it yoter min ha-muvchar. So, but stam, if you're not going to miss the mitzvah, so if you have a bris at 4 instead of 7 in the morning, you're going to miss the mitzvah, and therefore it is roy to do the mitzvah in a more mechover way. So here we have the Magen Avram, basically bringing it down, and there's a din in Yevamis where you have the choice of waiting for the gadol. The mitzvah of Yevam is better for the gadol, but the gadol isn't there, and the katan is there. So the katan says, "I'll do the mitzvah now," and we say that he does the mitzvah. So he's saying that. So here, basically, the din in the Shulchan Aruch is that if really you should put your talis on before you get your tefillin, but you don't have a talis right now. Should you put your tefillin on or wait until you get a talis? He says you should just put your tefillin on, and then when you get your talis, then put that on. And so Magen Avram was saying, yeah, that's just like in Yevamis or Chaviva mitzvah b'shaisa. So that's kind of the din of the Magen Avram, is that as soon as you get it, you should just do the mitzvah immediately and not wait for it. So even if you can do it, again, it's more kovud to have your tefillin on with the talis. You say no, you can put your tefillin on now, so put them on like immediately in a Chaviva mitzvah b'shaisa, even though it's less kovud. So here's the Chaye Adam. So he gives 3. That when don't we say don't let the mitzvah be chametz. So the first one is that lo shayach to lo marvin. So it's not you're not going to miss the mitzvah. Well, im ein lo panai l'kaim shneihem rak aleph. But if you don't have a panai to do them both, you're only going to do one. Lo shayach b'zeh ein marvin. So therefore, there's not shayach at all. This whole idea. Ele adarabah, we go after the mitzvah ha chamura. So this would be going against what the what the Radbaz was saying. The Radbaz was saying that you should do the first mitzvah that goes into your hand, and even if you won't be able to do, Purim with the Megillah, or you do Yom Kippur. I don't know exactly what's going on in the jail. Maybe I don't know, they force him to eat. I don't know, but he's saying that you go after the mitzvah chamura if you can't do both of them. And the whole thing of where we just do the first one, Ein Mavrim, is only where you have. So tzitzis and tefillin. Tefillin is a chamora because it's kedusha yoter, and also chaviv saguf and things like that. V'afilu yesh lo lefanav mitzvah deraisa lasot hayom. Even if you have a mitzvah deraisa to do today, only that when you do it today, you won't be able to do it tomorrow. To do the mitzvah deraisa acheres, that's chumur muzu. It's mitzvah lemachar adif. So if you have, so again, you have two mitzvahs. This whole thing of ein marvim al hamitzvahs. That if the one tomorrow, so you do the more chamor one, even if it turns up tomorrow. Gimel here, afal gav de shahi mitzvah lo mashin, and even though we don't delay doing a mitzvah, davka when you're able to do the mitzvah now, like you're able to do it after later. But if you're not able to do it now, like like tomorrow, that if you wait, you will do it from the mivchor. It's mufta shiyamtim yom or yomayim in order to do it min mivchor. So here the Chayadam is saying that it's better to. It says since you won't delay the mitzvah and you're going to do it with more kovud later, so then it's better to do it. It's better to do it later. So Rabbi here in the Sichas on Vayechi Kach Muvan. Bavli Rushalmi, they continue with their shitas. The shitas of the Bavli is the machriya that the benefit of Zerizus Magdin the mitzvahs right now on the face of the hiddur of the Roivam Hadrus HaMelech in the future. So we have the Roivam Hadrus HaMelech versus the Zerizus Magdin the mitzvahs. So the better now versus the better the future. So according to the Bavli, therefore we're machriya that do it now, Zerizus Magdin the mitzvahs over the future. Therefore, ein hu mavi the mikra of zev. This is referring to the bracha of Binyamin. And according to the Shitas, according to this, however, the Yerushalmi is machriya the header of in the future openei ha'inyan of Zerizus Magdinim, so that you have a better header later in the Zerizus Magdinim mitzvahs, and therefore it's musaf ala hachana min asoga zev makar kordos. So the really have a shitas machlokas between the Bavli. The Bavli is do the bris early in the morning, whereas the Yerushalmi is do the bris later with Kovud and Berovam Hadrus HaMelech. So there's an example brought in this case in the Mishnah that on Yom Kippur, if it's on Erev Shabbos, so then the seir of Yom Kippur is eaten in the evening, and then because on Erev Shabbos you can't cook it. It's just that the people from Bavel, the Kohanim from Chutz, they would eat it when it was chai is not cooked, because in the chilas of the seir, without cooking it, therefore you don't have the hashlemus, the mitzvahs of the chilas of the kodshim. So really, when you eat the kodshim, you eat it when it's nicely cooked, because that's the kovud. But the Bavlim, because the Bavel says that most reasons is reading the mitzvahs, so therefore you do it early, even if it's not kovud of the kodshim. So the gedula is that you eat the meat and you have it with mustard and you have it nicely cooked and you have it. But when you eat a chai, it's because you're doing it early rather than doing it with kovud. Davka kasher habasar itzali and cooked. That's how you should do it. So the Yerushalmis would wait for that. Lemarosot that the Bavlim would eat it when it's chai in order to the kind of the mitzvah in the Zerizus at the first moment possible. But the Kohen of Eretz Yisrael, you don't find them that they would. They wouldn't go after this because it is not a mitzvah behidder, so therefore they would wait for the hidder. So therefore the Yerushalmi would wait for the time and do it later for the hidder, rather than do it earlier. And in his case of Zerizus, where it could be done with more kovud later. So you have, but in the machlokus between the Bavli and the Yerushalmi, let me go over by the Bavli. So therefore the bris should be done earlier in the morning, even if less people will turn up.